Do you need a PO number for that?
I will give one. Here in a second.
Well, we gotta go out to bid first, so.
Yeah, we are back up. It'll take probably a second.
Anyway, moving on.
About this little bit, please.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're now on agenda item number 7, discussion and possible action regarding the purchase of and installation of drainage pipe at Station 3. Okay, this goes back to November the 10th when we looked at concreting the driveway in front of Station 3 and we shelved the idea for further investigation about whether we needed a drain pipe out there, if you remember. So I reached out, finally got the audience of Rogers County, somebody in the decision-making capacity that could make that determination. And indeed, we do need pipe out there, and he specified 12-inch smooth steel pipe. So to put that driveway in, that will be the first step, is get the pipe into the ground. So I went back to my old list of pipe companies and went to 4 pipe companies, and Hamel Metals, Wheeler Metals, Ferguson, and Water Products. Are you trying to copy that down?
I was.
I'll let you highlight it once that's the names of them, and then I'll talk about them.
Just go text you.
Oh, sorry.
We can.
Yep, thank you. And so of these 4 companies, the closest one to us is Water Products. They don't handle any large diameter metal pipe. All they carry is plastic in the bigger sizes. So moving to Ferguson Water Works out of VA, they have it and they can get it, and that's $2,995. Wheeler Metals out of Muskogee, theirs is used pipe in random lengths from 20 to 25 feet, and what we need is 60 feet of 12-inch. So they're random lengths of used pipe. They couldn't tell me how many feet it would be. They just have to put 3 together. So they give me an approximate price of $1,753. Hamel Metals, who is the company we bought the pipe off of for Station 2, the twin 16s that went under Station 2, they were the low bidder. They had exactly what we wanted. They could put together the combination that we needed, and they were coincidentally the low bidder at $15,024.94.
Maybe 1,500.
$1,524, excuse me, 1524.94.
And this is not installed, this is just for the pipe, correct?
And Rogers County guys will do the installation. All we've got to do is have the pipe on site. And Hamel Metals will deliver it to our site, drop it off the truck where we tell them to, for the price quoted, $1524.94.
Is that welded together, or is it just?
It comes in a 42-foot piece and a 21-foot piece, and the Rogers County guys are welded together just like they did the last ones. To get us close to our 60-foot, that's what they had, a 42 and a 21, which gives us 63. We're gonna pay for 63 feet. And in case the thickness matters to you, it's, I wrote it down somewhere. Schedule 40, which is .406 inches.
Make a motion, we purchase the drainage pipe from Hamel Metals, not to exceed $1,600 delivered.
Second,
Favor aye?
Ed, I,
Phelps, aye.
Louis, aye.
number 69.
Okay. Along those same lines, the object of the evolution is to get a driveway in front of Station 3. So, back in November, we looked at 2 bidders, and I still went back to the same 2 bidders since they both were kind enough to submit bids. One of them I have in front of me is from AP Construction, who was the high bidder last time. He submitted a sealed bid, which has not been opened. Cook Concrete, on the other hand, stood by his old bid from November. He'll stand behind this and did not want to submit another one. So I have 2 bids, one from Cook Concrete LLC for $30,588. $30,588. Second bid, AP Concrete, $43,215.
What was that, 40,000?
$43,215.
If I recall, the issue we had, I think back in November, one of the issues that we were looking at on the bids was some of the things that AP told us were included that in more detail, they provide a more detailed bid. There were some things we couldn't quite tell the difference on between the 2 bids.
Could we get copies of those to be distributed among the board members to look at them?
I can let you look at these if you have a question. These are the same ones as last time. It just,
I don't
you just,
remember having copies of the last ones.
okay, what we
Looks like
did,
you noted on here the rebar like last time.
Pardon?
Almost the same.
I mean, I talked to both guys and they're gonna do the same thing. They're gonna clean up after themselves. They're putting in the mesh in the concrete. They're putting the same specification of rebar. The size they bore is the size they bore, and the depth is 8 inches like we spec'd. I think the Cook Concrete didn't put as much fluff and pretty wording in it as the AP Concrete guy did. I don't think he put $13,000 worth of fluff wording in it. Concrete's concrete pretty much.
you used these concrete people before?
No, Limestone hasn't used them before. I know it to be a reputable firm.
Have you used AP concrete before?
I haven't personally.
They have done some work here, yes. Not much, I mean, they've done the sidewalk out here, that's the only thing I think we've actually, oh yeah, in the parking lot at Station 3, they did all that, the visitor parking lot,
Okay.
so they have done some work here.
I think if you know that this, they're gonna comply with the ODOT standard, the ACI standard, that he's aware of those and all these things are identical. I mean, those are the things where there's obviously a difference in lots of different ways to do concrete, but there's a standard that ODOT puts out, and it's kind of a quality standard that as long as these are apples to apples.
Do you consider them apples to apples?
Not as it's written.
I can't tell if they are, I can't tell what the low bid is proposing, other than to scrape the dirt off and pour some concrete. And, I can't be sure what he's doing. No. Price difference, I don't know, the other guy seems to be well versed in what is needed. And he does describe exactly what he's doing.
Do you know who Indian Electric is?
Pardon?
And the corporation, Indian Electric,
I don't know.
One of the-
Electric, yeah.
he does all their concrete work for them. I don't know if that's a reference or not, but I heard.
It's not a reference unless I know what concrete work he's doing.
I guess he pours the base for substations and their buildings and
so forth, and those have detailed specifications that are followed. He didn't say what he's following, which makes me a little uneasy, although it is a driveway and if he pours 8 inches with rebar, the problem is he gonna tie it in well so that it doesn't shift? There's a few things there that I worry about, but I thought, wasn't he the guy that came last time, or was it the other guy?
AP was one here.
And, there's a substantial difference, which is a surprise. Because normally, I would expect concrete work to be about the same, so, what's the difference between the two? I don't remember how many yards you're pouring there. Do you remember the size of that driveway?
Yeah, it's just listed on here.
It was 60 something.
Yeah, it was, no, as a matter of fact, it's not listed, it's not.
I saw something on one of those numbers, one of those pages has a size.
92 by 61. 8 inches thick, 4,000 PSI concrete with fiber reinforcement and number 4 rebar. Grade 60 at 24-inch EW, whatever that means.
61 by what?
92 feet by 61 feet by 8 inches thick.
139 yards.
139 yards?
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's a, you know, if it truly is apples to apples, I've got no problem, you know. But my issue is if it's not to that, you know, there's also a lot of ways to save money on concrete by not doing certain things, and I'd hate to have a heavy truck cracking concrete.
Okay, well, you're going, I'm just gonna point something out to you. You're going 8 inches thick, which is exorbitant, for one thing. They can run concrete mixtures on 9 inches. And the specifications that we're probably gonna look at here in a little bit for Mr. Averill's project specifies 6-inch concrete for this whole thing out here with the same great big fire trucks on it. 6 inches of 40,000 pound concrete in these specifications is what it calls for the same size big ass trucks.
My only concern is if he's gonna tie it in, but, just run it through the price of what it's expected for installed concrete price. The lower bid seems reasonable. Okay. Now, the difference is he gonna come back and complain because he's got to chip out a bunch of rock or anything, which he's not supposed to, because he mentioned it in there. And is he gonna clean the site up properly, which, I mean, we can probably force that well enough.
Well, I should probably abstain from voting, even voting on this, because he's my neighbor. He lives in the district, and this is one of the smaller projects that he ever does. He didn't even want to submit a bid because usually he does parking lots for shopping centers and huge warehouse slabs this is one of the smaller jobs that he does. But I'm perfectly good with spending more money if we want to.
I don't
It's okay.
want
with
to
me.
spend more money if we don't have to. My only concern is,
Cleanup the issue.
no, cleanup to me is not an issue because like Bud said, we can force that by not making a final payment until it's done. I mean, those are, so that's not the issue. My issue is, if and he may very well know the spec, and he probably knows the specs if he's doing that type of thing. I just don't have anything on paper that says these are apples to apples. And, but if you're saying that, yes, these are, from your conversation with him, then I'll take you up, from your conversation with him, that's fine. But I just don't want to be 5 years down the road and we've got back being gravel because the things crumble. And I realize 8 inches is 8 inches, but the problem is you can put 8 inches in, and if it's not done right, it's still gonna end up being gravel.
I understand you'd rather err on the side of caution. That's reasonable to me. So what I'm gonna propose is that we again table this one. Maybe we can write some better specifications to send out, since obviously
I think if we just
members aren't satisfied with.
I just want a clarification from him.
Is there any way that if it's just the wording as far as in one spec says they follow DOT specifications, if he submits a letter saying I too am following DOT specifications,
I'd be absolutely great.
would that work?
And I don't have a problem approving this on the condition that it's DOT standards. How about that?
It's fine with me.
I'm not trying to frustrate the process. I'm just,
I'm good with there. I mean, if you can provide a letter that says,
Okay.
Otherwise.
Well, yeah, we can make it contingent on a board that's provided. The board is contingent on that's provided. And if you can't provide it, then we'll revisit it.
Well, the only reason I said that is you don't want to cut a guy out of the job if he does that stuff and just didn't write it in the spec. If he can write a piece of paper saying that he does that, does that satisfy the board as far as that goes, since he has $13,000 difference in price?
and he does this for a living. He's,
Right.
we did not set out a formal written guidance to them on what answers we wanted, and that's, but if I can see the AP, you guys see both real quick, I'll make a motion. I'll make a motion that we award the contract to Cook Concrete and not to exceed $30,500, or say $30,600, contingent upon written confirmation that his quote does meet, or the services he will provide will meet, we'll use the ODOT Class A paving concrete with ODOT approved rock, fiber mesh, and the soft cut saw per ACI standards, and apply an ODOT approved cure and seal.
I'll second that.
We had a motion and a second. Vote.
And
April, aye?
Lewis, aye.
I abstain. That way there's no conflict of interest.
number 70.
Pardon? That was 70?
Yep.
Okay.
That means you're gonna have, when he does that work, you're gonna have a workaround while he's pouring concrete.
We'll start trucking right back to it.
And we will need a workers' comp.
Yeah, that needs to be set up front, I guess.
That's
You
where
guys didn't tell me that before.
What's that?
And insurance.
Oh, we have, every vendor has to provide.
Yeah,
that.
but
That's
we
not a
didn't
big
mention
deal.
that before.
Yeah.
Normally, I don't get that on survey.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, anybody comes on site, and actually some people that even don't come on site, actually submit their workers' comps.
But what our workers' comp does is they request an account, either accounts payable or a check register for the previous year, and they go down and look for any vendor that was paid that could possibly be on site, and that's who they request. Certificate. I know.
Ready?
Let me finish my notes.
Okay.
Thank you.
So you're calling it the ODOT compliance standard?
That is the,
listed in the other spec.
Yeah.
I'd like to have copies of those for my records in case I have to deal with him.
I just don't know what's there.
Okay, but I will
All right.
get those to you. I'm making a little notes here. Are you ready, Chris?
Good to go.
Okay, moving to item number 10, discussion and possible action regarding the purchase of challenge coins.
That would be me. In light of our 40-year anniversary this year, I would like to purchase 100 of these. I've got 2 printed bids here. I actually have 3, but the third one just sent me a price, no drawing or anything, so. I'll pass these 2 around. The one on top, if you'll look at the detail that's in it, as opposed to the other one, I've actually got 2 coins here from my personal collection. This is from the top one, and this one is from the second one down. You can see the difference in the detail that's in them. You can actually read the writing on the badges and stuff. The top one there, Symbol Arts, is also the company that made our patches for us, so they already had that vector file on hand. But
Who are they, Greg? Symbol Arts and who?
Symbol Arts, Signature Coins, and Custom Center are the 3. There is
So the third one was,
Custom Center. There's some price difference here, but there's also some quality difference. You can tell by the detail in them and the writing.
what kind of quantity are we looking?
100. Some for all of our people and handed out to some of our vendors and to have on hand here. We thought they did this is one Santa Springs did when they dedicated Station 2. It's got a double-sided coin on it. They'll come in the little plastic pouches, but Custom Center, the one that did not submit an artist rendition of it, for 100 of them is $604 plus shipping.
600.
604. Signature Coins that did provide one, the second one that you looked at there, it's $590 for 100 of them, and this is one of their coins. The other one is from Symbol Arts, is $1,085, but they are the one with the most detail in their stuff. That's a Symbol Arts coin there. You can read the writing and the badge numbers. It's very, very detailed. The one that's in your right hand, I asked to have the red banner put around it with our 40-year, and it never did seem to materialize. So, and that was the whole point in having them, to have our 40-year anniversary on there. We redid the zip ends that are in the seats and with chairs that are in both stations at 1 and 3 with our 40-year logo a couple of months back. So I'd like to progress on and get some of these for our 40-year, and then we'll do it after this whole thing is over, have an open house and little public safety thing for our 40-year anniversary and do a couple other things later on towards summer after we're done being quarantined and social distanced. Is that a symbol art? That one? Yeah. Here's another symbol arts that the Fools had done, the Green Country Fools.
Just like he was talking about, if you notice the quality in there, you can see the 4-leaf clover and the O on top.
The symbol art's actually quoted a diamond grade coin, which is their top of the line coin with the detail in it, as opposed to some of these others that don't. Like I said, I'm not good with you, I know I have those now.
Interesting to see one of these.
Did you get those prices?
Did you get all those?
I got prices.
Hmm.
I got prices.
So,
And basically, the symbol arts breaks down to $8.45 a coin. The others are $5.90 and $6.04. But that one from symbol arts includes shipping and the setup fee and everything, so
Did it,
the other two didn't include shipping.
Is there any, not that we want 2,000, but is there any break in going anything?
I'm sure there probably is, but
Probably not till 500.
it's probably.
Well, but I'm just thinking, 100, if you got, just say 40, we're gonna get rid of half of them immediately within the department.
Real quick, but I don't think there was a price break on it.
I don't remember the number we bought for the Fools. It was over 100, but I don't remember what the break was, if it was 250 or if it was 500.
We can get 100, and if we start running low, we can order another 100. I just hate to order 400 or 500, end up with 300 under the box in the office
Okay.
5 years from now.
I agree there.
I would just assume,
Yeah.
if I get down to 15 or 20, we can order another 100, but.
Okay.
So. I didn't want
Okay.
to
What's the turnaround
overbuy.
time on
make
those?
a motion since you got the dollar amount in front of you. Please.
I'll make a motion, we purchase the coins from Symbol Arts, given the quality and given the quality of the coin and the purpose, not to exceed $1,100.
I'll second that.
Phelps, aye.
Haberline.
Yeah,
Blue side.
Righty.
71.
yes.
Yep, I'm good.
Number 11, discussion and possible action regarding the purchase of boat accessories.
That's me too. In our last little, first and last little jaunt with the boat, we've identified some things that we need to get for that boat, which is boat one, the new rigid hull inflatable sitting out here in the bay. I kind of rolled all of this into boat accessories, because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 things on here for boats. So I rolled it all into one. I can give you the spreadsheet of where the prices came from, Chris. The only thing that's not in here, we determined that a guy standing in the middle of a boat with a flashlight when you're trying to drag for a person is not conducive, because every time you turn the spotlight. So we're looking to build an aluminum. We're gonna actually have to fabricate it because they don't make one for it. An aluminum light bar that goes up and over the motor to mount lights on, so we can actually see what we're doing at night instead of somebody out there with a flashlight, which happened. It was like this the entire night. So the pipe is actually from a different vendor because it was a lot cheaper. The rest of these prices, Amazon was actually the cheapest on everything but the pipe. There's life jackets, civilian life jackets if we have to go get people, which we've done twice already. A net, we have determined that when you go pull somebody in that's a body, it's easier to put a net under them and roll them in that way than try to get a hold of them and pull them in. The clamps for the spotlights, some of the lights, the receiver hitch, the net, and the elbows, which the hitch and the net is for Rescue 2 and Rescue 3's boats. We have no place. Used to, we just threw the boat in the back. We can't do that anymore. So we're gonna put a receiver with like the wheelchair cart thingy on the back, so we can put the motor and the boat on those when we go with rescue with boat 2 and 3. The rest of this stuff is for boat 1. Total, not counting the sheet and the pipe, is $1,216.53 from Amazon. I said, I've got 3 prices on everything here, but it's from like 11 different vendors because nobody had everything we needed but Amazon. So if you want to do that and then do the pipe later on the next one, or you want to do it all?
I'll just do it. I think we just combine it and then we'll do lowest price suppliers.
The price on the pipe is $147.44 for the aluminum pipe. And that's for 4 7-foot pieces. We'll cut it and fabricate it and build it to fit our boat the way we want it.
Who's the pipe from?
Buymetal.com, actually. It was $60 cheaper than Amazon was.
Okay, I'll make a motion, we purchase the boat accessories from the lowest price suppliers, not to exceed $1,500 plus standard shipping.
Second.
April, I.
Phelps, aye.
And I,
Lewis, aye.
72.
correct.
Everybody got it? Moving on. Open items. High drive bins, that's done.
Nope, should be here in mid-May. They haven't showed up yet, or it hadn't showed up yet. I got an email the other day said mid-May on shipment.
Section 2 sheet rock's about done, but they're still working on it.
Ongoing. Rescue trucks.
Sold.
Purchase of fire code books.
Closed. We'll go to the office.
Lease purchase for engine 2.
As noted in my treasury report, we were approved for a lease purchase on new engine 2. It looks like we're just waiting on a delivery date to provide the lender, so that we can get the money transferred over.
We just go ahead and close this item.
Well, so it's good.
Engineering work related to drainage and concrete for Station 1. Mr. Averill, would you like to address that issue?
Sure. The CEC people came out and did the soil bores and did a drainage study. And based on that, they produced some documents, drawing documents, which I forwarded to everybody to look at. I had them divide that into different section project numbers or whatever they wanted to call them at the time, so we could pick and choose which ones we wanted to do first, second, third, or fourth, or combine them all together. There's study based on the soil analysis and the AIMRITE analysis of the soil and the weight of the vehicles recommended. But we use 6-inch concrete with, and I had to put rebar in there for the areas. I also had them include some additional concrete work originally we weren't talking about, which is on the northeast end of the building, north side on the east end. So we've got different sections we can work on at one time. So unless there's comments on their stuff that might need to change on the drawings, my next step is to write a specification for the work based on whatever sections we wish to do first, second, third, or fourth.
Mhm.
I would also need to get an estimate, develop an estimate for project cost for different sections so that we have an idea what we're talking about. I haven't done that yet because I just got the drawing about a week ago. And I didn't know for sure how much of it anybody wanted to do at once, or did we want to look at prices first? And see what.
Can I get a copy of that drawing?
I emailed it to you.
You did?
Mhm.
Thank you.
The north side, or pardon me, the south end is all one piece with a slope drainage to the east. There's a section of concrete drainage from that point out to the yard, which is a separate project. There's a piece of concrete out front, on the north end, which is fairly flat for the vehicles to park on. There's a section, goes from that section to the street. I did have a meet with ODOT to make sure that the drainage sections that we put on there match what ODOT want, which is, if you look on the drawings there, it's a special pipe, or not a special pipe, but pipe that they recommend with the kind of ends that they like. And then there's a section just to the east of the doors in the heading pad, we should concrete that area north of the building on the east side where you normally park your vehicles. So there's several sections.
And then to him. There's a whole packet on ODOT from their original,
Okay.
all their stuff up that you might find of use. You can have that whole folder.
Okay. So unless there's concerns or comments, on the drawings, I was gonna have him finalize the drawings and give me a set for construction, which would close out, the CEC part of the project.
Okay.
The next step for me would be to develop the specs, and get ready to go out for bids for the work. He did give me a list of prospective bidders. So I have a list of prospective bidders for this kind of work. I would include also these people. These two people that we talked about for station three. So, I guess the first thing to do is there any comments on the drawings?
Pretty detailed. That's
What he found
good.
was that the soil here, if they do the undergrade properly, 6 inches is all you need for these trucks, provided you have the proper undergrade. If you don't do the undergrade, then you probably would be better off with 8 inches. He did put re-rod in it, which he said wasn't necessarily needed, but I told him I wanted it. I don't like pouring big slabs of concrete without re-watering it. Just going around the room, we'll start with Chief Long. You got any comments?
I don't have any comments on it. I just, from looking at what they've got listed as phases here, for me, 1, 2, and 4 would be the first 3.
You would prefer 1, 2, and 4?
1, 2, and 4, which is the one in front of the bay, the one in front of the station, and the one right behind the station. Because that's where we're having the issues of
Yes.
holes.
And that's,
Yeah.
did you want to, it's hard to see those unless you get right up on them. I have trouble seeing them on the little bitty screen. I had to go to my big screen.
Basically, 1 is right in front of the bay doors on the front.
Here, 2, 3.
4 is right next to basically where you and I are parking now, where we usually end up washing trucks and making a mud hole.
And then, and I would, well, let's go around. Does anybody else have any comments?
as we started the conversation.
The only comment I would have, and just like with the project we're looking at, the fence, is that we're probably gonna have to treat, any which way we break it up or not break it up, we're gonna need to treat this as the same, as it's gonna be over 50,000.
Yes, I expect that would be the way to do it.
Follow the state purchasing guidelines as far as,
Fully expected that.
Okay. or we'll have to advertise it. So hopefully with this, we'll get a template and then we can
Right.
use that to help with our advertising.
I was expecting that we would probably want to do these first three, the coming fiscal year.
Well, my question is, what do we have budgeted for this project? Or do we have anything specifically
Well,
earmarked?
We have,
it would fall into next year's fiscal year.
I would imagine, by the time we start paying
If
for it.
I got everything done, it would fall into next year's payment.
I would say that, and then we can, I mean, put a set budget in for each fit station for capital improvements. I'd have to look up the budget, I don't remember off the top of my head, but, if it's something, because we're doing more work here than versus the other stations, we can
Well,
certainly shift the
I'm thinking that
capital funding to more here.
we just approved
At the
30,000
same time.
and almost 60,000 for a fence, that's $90,000, so there must have been $90,000 budgeted somewhere for Station 3. Is there a like sum for Station 1
Yeah, like I
available?
said, I'd have to look and see what I probably put a
A
lot
couple
of.
months ago, you gave me a number that was in there, and I don't remember what it is, it seemed like there was quite a bit.
But realistically, I realize you're not gonna get before this fiscal year's over, get anything done, but
And what I would expect is to do one,
what I'm searching for is how much per year can we start doing? How much can we start?
I'd like to see the number.
Yeah.
Like I said, the 1 and 4, for me, that probably should be done at the same time.
Before, in front of and behind.
1 and 4 is.
1
just
and
the
4
front.
side by side, those are done at the
Two
exact
is
same
back.
time because they're both in front of the building.
That's our,
That's
this
typically.
is so nasty and soft back here. That's one of your priorities. I
Yeah,
know
that's,
that.
that's phase 2. 1, 2, and 4 are the first 3 for me. Because, I mean, we run out of the front every day. We don't run out of the back every day, but we're also having a lot of trouble with compaction back here.
But
But we
given,
do, when we come back, that front out there is usually where the mud hole is made, because that's where we wash all the trucks from all the muddy coals.
Then you back in
Then you back
tires
up,
that are muddy.
yeah, and then you can't keep the station clean.
Perfect sense.
But it would just make sense to do 1 and 4 at the same time.
Because we
it's
turn the
whole
trucks around,
in
run out
front
the
of
back
the
of the
building.
station.
would you prefer 1 and 4 first or 3 first?
I think we better do 1 and 4 first. I mean, we come out of the only trucks right now that are coming out of the back of the building that are having issues is the tanker, because the brush truck, I hope it'll climb over that hole. But the tanker is the one that, it's been out twice and it's already dropped 4 or 5 inches, but we don't run a tanker every day. We do run a rescue truck every day, and it's starting to do that out front too, so.
They give you someplace to go, bud. They give you
Yeah,
direction from the board.
yeah,
See what,
I would
1 and
expect- I
4
would-
first, and then do 2,
I would expect it to be something like that.
and then from there, that's it.
The question is, how much can we do per year?
What we put in this fiscal year for Station 1 parking lot project basically was 250,000. Now, of course, probably we won't be spending that.
Well,
at other-
I'll have to do an estimate on
Right.
what it would take to do those. And, my personal thought is it probably would take 2 years to do all of it on this job.
So that's
cash
okay.
flow reasons.
Right, and that's okay that, on that.
You talking about everything on the drawing, or just those 3 pieces?
Those 3 pieces 1 year, and the rest of it the next year.
Okay, that's what I thought you meant, I was just making sure.
And,
This, just the.
We're gonna get there.
It's only
Projects 1
15
and,
years.
1 and 4, just
Making
rough estimate, it's actually less than this, be 60 by 50. Because there's actually a corner cut off, so it's not accurate, but 60 by 50.
And something we need to look at too is what we were talking about the other day, when we started mowing out front, those railroad ties, if you sit in my office and look where the edge of the driveway used to be,
Mhm.
and where the railroad ties are at now, that's about 5 foot, it needs to go that way. To make more driveway from where the drainage ditch stops, the railroad ties are like 5 foot on the inside of it, and there's grass growing. So to get back to what we had originally as a driveway, that flagpole corner may not be cut off that.
But that's
fast.
phase 3 though.
No, if you move the railroad ties back out, that corner may not be clipped on phase 4.
Okay, well,
Make it
just,
square.
just using 60 by 50, that's smaller than the 60 by 90 down
Station
to
3.
Station 3.
Mhm.
And so,
So we can just bid the concrete instead of having to go out for private bid on that if we do it piecemeal.
well,
No, you don't wanna do that. You can't do it piecemeal like that. Because what you run into is problem with the state saying you're deliberately avoiding,
Bid split, basically.
bids by chopping the project up. You don't wanna do that.
So you're talking about getting somebody to bid the whole job, but then are willing to do
Well,
it a piece at a time.
What you do is you say, I wanna do this year, and bid this part this year. And your explanation in the documents is you're cutting it out for, in 2 phases for cash flow reasons.
budgetary.
Now that's acceptable. I could have the guy bid the whole thing and just chop it up into 2 years. If they're willing to do that. But the problem there is, can you hold the price of concrete for a year?
Mhm.
And that's hard to do in this, environment. I've done that in other jobs, but not for concrete for over a year and a half. I could ask them, that would be better to have it all bid at once and say, this is phase 1 for 1 year, this is phase, or this, we're gonna do that this year, and that next year, bid the whole job at once. I'll think about doing that, but chances are we're gonna do 1 piece 1 year and 1 piece next year. Unless there's some other reason that we want to do it different. Once I get an estimate, I can do an estimate on the cost of the whole job, which I haven't done yet, like I said. Then I'll have an idea whether it's manageable in 1 year or 2 years.
Just looking at it, if we do the 2 pads out front and the 1 out back, the only thing left basically is the drainage ditch
And
and then the piece from the pad to the road,
Yeah.
which is two pours, according to this. So,
and that's,
and then we can go from there, the years after that.
yeah,
But the one in the front, what is it, 1 and 4 is essentially the same size as 3.
yes,
So they're 60 by 50
yeah.
combined, or each.
There may be more dirt work associated with this one than there would be at Station 3
Sure.
because of the kind of work you have.
Well, in the slope on the front of this building, the slope coming out of the building, probably what they have to dig down in front of the concrete in the building is gonna have to go out at the other end to level that up.
Yeah.
Because it drops quite a bit coming out of the station.
Yeah.
The back is gonna be all extra dirt because it's pretty well flat. So
Yeah,
we may have to get rid of some dirt there.
back here, you've got a hunk of rock. Now, judging from the soil bores, I call it a hunk of rock. It's probably about 20 feet square, maybe a little bit bigger than that.
You don't even know
It's
that.
right there.
You don't even know the half
Was
of
there
it.
like 40 dump truck
On
loads
the,
of
on
rock?
the soil bores, that rock didn't show up.
The one right behind the building, I know they drilled through it, right between the back bay
Yeah, but
doors.
You say the back over here.
Right here.
Well, of course they drilled through it. This is the one that had the rock in it. The other ones didn't really have hard rock. They had chert type material, which is not what I call rock. It's just,
There's a bunch.
it's almost rock.
But anyway,
But, so I don't see a particular problem, but it's gonna be harder to do this dirt work here. So, over the next week or two, I'll be writing specs and developing a bidding list. And, once I get to the point that I feel like I can go out for bids, I'll get with one of you guys to go out for advertising.
Okay.
And I'll develop packages to hand out for bidding.
Would you have a ballpark estimate by May 8th? Or do you need more time?
Yeah, I can do it.
Okay. The only reason I ask that is that's when I'm requesting that everybody submit their budgets for next fiscal year.
You need an engineering estimate by May 8th.
Just to estimate how much we need to put in the next fiscal year. Of course, we'll add.
Is that pretty much your comments?
Yes.
Okay, moving forward, purchase of wireless access point for Station 1.
Yeah, it still needs to be installed.
Okay, Microsoft Office,
Still work in progress.
arm locks,
We're waiting on those. It's a production issue due to the quarantine, getting their supplies from their vendors.
purchase of promotional items,
Clothes.
purchase of bunker gear,
Still waiting on it. We're still waiting on it.
purchase of wildland gear,
Still waiting on it.
bunker boots,
Bunker boots are in.
they're in.
Yes,
Okay, wildland boots,
we're waiting on them.
purchase of active 911 service,
Still working on it.
Yeah, we're still working
how to
on
make it work.
We're trying to work with Spellman to get, the two to talk to each
It works
other.
everywhere else but here. They're using the exact same system, both of them in Sand Springs, works flawlessly. They can't even make a talk over here.
legal action against former treasurer for the purpose of obtaining fire protection district property.
And I'm assuming we're still on hold with the, because of
Courthouse.
courthouse being shut down.
We're ready to go back to court whenever.
I need to still review, but yeah, we will be. I'll double check with Jesse on that, but we probably are still on hold.
Yeah, the courthouse is still on hold.
Close to the 30th, I believe, at least.
Expenses for FDIC,
It's closed, they canceled.
But they completely canceled.
As of right now, they have not set a permanent date for reassigning.
It's not exactly the easiest thing you
Workstation
can fit
3.
in somewhere.
Still works in progress.
training room floor in progress, lights and accessories for car 3,
Close.
closed. Audit,
I'm sorry,
working on it.
C3 is closed.
Yes.
Up here.
Yeah, that's where I'll actually be giving you those three years worth of stuff to get to them
Upcoming,
upcoming.
okay. District bylaws,
I think what I need to do is,
You gave it to the lawyer.
well, I haven't physically or emailed it to the lawyer. I just need to find a copy. I think that you provided, or,
I'll send you another copy.
okay, send me another copy. We'll look it over and then send it over to Jesse and see if we can get this moving.
updates and possible action regarding Highway 20 relocation. That's on.
Not much progress other than doing right-of-way relocation.
And poking holes in district water districts,
Yeah.
water lines.
No, that's the first thing to do.
Yeah, that's what that new neighbor I have that's up on, 209, north on 209. He's finished his house, he can't move in because they won't give him a water tap until they finish the water at the corner.
They got that last week up
He
there.
built a brand new giant house and is,
See the one that was burning the other day, got away from it?
no, that was a different guy. This guy's,
Status on new engine 2.
It's in production. They're telling me mid-May, probably on the mid-build. This trip is in the contract, so it's on them. I'm not real hip on the idea of flying, so I'm gonna see if in lieu of playing plane tickets, if they'll pay for fuel. I would much rather, I don't really wanna drive 12 hours, but I really don't wanna be on a plane right now in an airport with a bunch of people.
Where's that?
Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin,
Wisconsin.
12-hour drive.
Hopefully it won't be any more snow by May.
Trouble with that, yeah, well, you can do it one day, I guess. It's a hard day.
We've done
We've done it before, we've done it several
We've done
times.
it
several
That's where
times.
Pump School's at. I bet I've driven it 5 or 6 times anyway.
I know I've been with him 3 of those times.
Is there a hotel at that end?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we stay in Chippewa Falls in town, Darley pays for the
I mean,
hotel.
a lot of the places, the hotels are pretty much shut down.
No, they're still open.
Just
Chippewa
nobody's
Falls,
going there.
I think they've only got 2 cases in the entire county up there. And they're down farther south.
You want to use the broomstick cruise control now.
I will not. I will have a cramp in my foot, I actually have a cruise.
Oklahoma, go ahead.
That's all we're waiting on, it's just mid-build. They're actually producing on the truck right now.
Oklahoma firefighters pension system. I reached out to Higher Authority, being a board member this week on Wednesday, who will be visiting with the chairman of the pension system, finding out what the holdup is and giving us some answers that will enlighten us a little bit. So had to go over his head, I guess.
Shouldn't be that difficult.
That's what we're thinking. Updating employee policy.
Well, as we voted on earlier, at least 3 have gotten up, well, actually 3 plus another one. I'm gonna get with Chris and we'll look at what we need to continue to work on with Jesse, and I'm sure I don't know how busy Jesse is, but at least get council to kind of look at those and keep on moving there.
As a side note on that, we did update all the SOGs a couple of months ago. About every 10 years we need to do it, and they've all been done and put back out, so. The SAPs are in progress.
We did that this month.
It was last month, actually. We got them rolled back out.
March.
Got everything updated and sent back out.
March 2020.
Mhm.
Okay. Container, waiting on paint,
We've got paint, we're just waiting on dry weather. It's set out here in the bay
understandable,
And not so windy.
and not windy, so we don't end up with it on all the cars like we did the yellow paint.
very understandable. Equipment report,
As far as I know, there's not anything out of service. The new rescue trucks are in service at both stations. The only thing we're waiting on those is the mount for the Jaws pump. Right now, they're both tied down with a ratchet strap, so they don't move till we get those mounts. We're kind of in a holding pattern because of social distancing with those, so. Everything else is in service as far as I know. Robert and I were talking before we started the meeting. Anybody have any objection to going ahead and getting the process started for getting rid of engine 4? Since we have another truck gonna be here in a month or 2, and go ahead and start that process for getting it sold,
I don't have a problem with it.
figuring out pricing on it and get it advertised. And
We end up with,
I'd rather
A
it be
lack
gone
of-
before the other one gets here.
look what we got outside.
Because that's what's gonna happen, the new one's gonna show up, and it's gonna go
The
outside.
reality of it is we can sell it and just be down a reserve engine for a couple months, or we keep it until the new truck gets here and then that sits outside for 2 months.
So by the time you get closed bids, it's another meeting or 2 anyway.
I mean, and there's not a Kelly Blue Book for fire trucks, you just gotta kind of figure out what we're willing to take for it, and what the other trucks out there like it are going for, so I'll go ahead and start that part of it and see what we can figure out on as far as what to advertise and sell it for.
So are we thinking have bids back for next month or June?
It'd be tough to get them out fast enough.
Yeah, it's 3 weeks, because we're a week late anyway.
Well, May's meeting is the
Back because
17th
of
because of
Mother's
Mother's Day.
So they give 4 weeks.
And then, but June's meeting is gonna be on the 14th.
Has anybody got any ballpark idea on the minimum on it?
I have to look
I
at Brenda
I
Lee
honestly
or
don't have a
something.
clue. I haven't even looked.
I would,
What year?
It's a 99 polybody cast
It's
engine.
a 99.
I would suggest going to like Brindle Mountain or something like that and looking at engines that are comparable to that year and everything else and seeing what they're listed for.
I don't
And
think
do
we're gonna
pros
have as
and
much
cons.
trouble on this one as we did the last one, just due to the style of engine and its gas truck. And I think this one will go a lot quicker than that one.
I would just recommend that we just go whatever minimum that the chief's office thinks that we can get.
Something like it that you can find.
There's plenty of those out there. That front mount was an oddball, hard to find anything comparable. These are everyday fire trucks. I will find out what I can find on minimum one.
And then, like I said, do we wanna open it up 2 months or 1 month, or sort of thought?
I do it for a month and with the right to
Extend.
Extend it,
Well-
extend if no bid?
right to extend of no bid or,
Yeah, because if we put a minimum on it and we get one bid, we're gonna have to get, that's the way it's gonna go.
I'm good with that. I mean,
So basically May 15th,
is that the deadline? Is that
that
Friday?
would be the Friday before the board meeting.
You-
And I'll work with you on getting the spec sheet together.
That's the next board meeting?
May
Bid-
17th.
For the bids to be in by then?
Which basically gives you
4
1,
weeks.
2, 3, basically almost 4 weeks.
Which is, it should,
That's
take
Which
you-
is what we did for the rescue.
shouldn't take you there.
And how's it advertised? How is that advertised?
We advertised it mostly by Facebook. Facebook,
website.
Melvin, probably. I mean,
Similar to what we did these rescues?
Rescue trucks, we sent it to Melvin, and the Grand Gateway coordinator, and he sent it to everybody in his list, which is like 75 fire chiefs, and then it just kind of scattered from there.
And then also Oklahoma
Yeah,
apparatus.
there's 2 or 3 Facebook pages that have fire apparatus on them.
And it got shared like 17 times and
Okay, well,
It's got good advertising.
that sounds good.
best thing is it doesn't cost us anything to advertise.
It's Thursday, sure did. We'll see who's got some money, who doesn't. Okay, business not known at time of posting.
Well, that was one of them.
It was kind of neat, quick.
And announcements, I have one, Don. The stipend went through with flying colors at this meeting before you got here,
Appreciate that.
starting May the 1st,
Okay.
effective May the 1st.
And would the chair like to announce it to the firefighters, or how do you want to announce it to the firefighters?
Chief, how do you want to announce it to the firefighters? Well,
I think the chief should.
I do too. It's kind of a gift to your people,
I can do it.
and
Because I think, and then
I wanna
you
come-
send it out with the attachments of the policy and the SOG, I mean, basically. And, we can talk about it at the next officers meeting on how the little bit of a training on emergency reporting part of it.
Which is gonna be here pretty quick.
I want to commend everybody that had anything to do with that project. I think it's a worthwhile project. I know, Dawn and the chief staff, I know everybody's had their hand in it, but I think it's a great thing. We probably should have tried to do this a long time ago, and I think we're gonna be right in there doing what everybody else does around us, being comparable with them, and keep the interest of these people up. Thanks again for you guys, appreciate that. Yep. Any announcements?
I've got a couple, one is, just, not that it takes any action on the board, just to let everyone know, we submitted a claim, for Jesse France. His vehicle, he's one of our paid employees, one of his vehicles was damaged in a hailstorm, in front of the building, or side of the building there. It actually, VFIS is trying to figure out a way to cover it. It's actually, if he was en route to the station for the purpose of a call and his vehicle was damaged, there's no question it would be covered by VFIS. If he were here during a call and something happened, there wouldn't be any question. If he's just stationed here, our adjuster is trying to figure out a way to cover it.
Well, that's nice.
So And he told me that if I didn't hear back from him, and this was at the first of the week, that he would get it covered. So I have not heard back from him, so possibly covered, but, just so you know that's out there. But that's really the coverage is if you're here during a call or en route to a call.
Yeah, I'd like to make a comment on that. I think it's ironic that you're going to bat and fighting hard for a windshield that was damaged by hail because somebody was at work. And then you ignore the fact that a firefighter's on scene and has an incident and has to go to the hospital, and you deny that claim and don't fight for that.
I haven't fought for any, I fought
I just think it's
hours and
ironic
hours
how
for your
you're
daughter.
following up on this, but you didn't follow up on her.
All I did is submit a
And-
claim. All I
Gentlemen,
did is submit a claim.
gentlemen, thank you. Your comments duly noted. Thank you, sir.
Other announcement is that we now have another new employee come on. So we're at full staff. That was effective 2 weeks ago tomorrow.
We'll talk about that tomorrow.
Any other announcements?
I do real quick, I sent this out by email, but just for the record, that budget requests are due for the fiscal year 2021 is Friday, May 8th. Please send it to me via email. We're going to hope to present the proposed budget on the May 17th board meeting. Evaluations are due June 12th. Proposed budget meeting will be held on June 14th, along with hopefully adopting the fiscal year 2021 budget at that time. And then hopefully also we'll see about merit raises and such. Like I said, I sent this out via email. If you don't get it by Friday, we can still do things, but it just makes it a whole lot easier to keep the process going without having that.
Alrighty.
If anybody needs any information on what we spent last year, et cetera, on particular line items besides what's in the blanket purchase orders, et cetera, please let me know. I can get you, if you don't already have an existing report. So,
Thank you. Any other announcements? I make a motion that we adjourn.
Never lie.
Phelps, aye.
yeah,
Lewis, I.
We stand adjourned. Thank you. Gentlemen,
I won't run away.
I'll get you copies of those
Okay.
for those two contractors.
Anything medical wise that you think I need to